Good evening, Foundation staff. This is 0513. Welcome to another anomalous broadcast from Site-42. As a reminder, while we welcome Foundation staff to view this broadcast through encoded links to their YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook apps, the only way to join the discussion is via text or video chat through the secured GetVokl app. Meanwhile, if you wish to support further advances to our broadcast technology, you may choose to make a donation from your monthly salary to the Site-42 Patreon page. I have gathered you all here because I have been given the responsibility for an anomaly in our containment, and to be frank, I am uncertain how to approach the unique situation it presents. The first item on our agenda this evening is to go over the documentation of this anomaly, Dr. Michaels, SCP-4428, and hold a forum on what exactly is going on, and how exactly we should handle it to the best of our abilities. Do recall that our cover story is that of an online creative writing project, so metacritical analysis of literary tropes such as story structure, character, and so forth can prove useful to our purposes. Following that, if there is time, we will hold a readiness briefing for the imminent active phase of SCP-4666, known as a Weissnacht event. At this time, you are to pull up the documentation for SCP-4428. While you do so, I have a prepared statement from Dr. Phoenix, part of the Joint Authority on the Dr. Michaels documentation. It is important, number one, to remember during this documentation that the Department of Miscommunications has complete control over all information in the article. Second, there are three kinds of statements in the inoculation comprehension text: a logical opposite, a lie, and a non sequitur. Based on each line's context and the piece as a whole, it is our duty as readers and Foundation researchers to figure out when each kind is being referred to. Third, due to being cleared by the miscommunications personnel, whatever we decide here is, to the best of our understanding, what is going on. Maybe we can figure this out together. As I assume you have SCP-4428 pulled up, we will now begin reviewing the documentation. Notice from the Foundation Department of Miscommunications. The Department of Miscommunications is to handle all documentation and communication involving Dr. Michaels and follow a strict set of rules. These rules are impossible to state explicitly. However, we have designed this document in a way that heavily implies them. Eli Forkley, Director, Department of Miscommunications. Department of Miscommunications notice: this file requires non-anomalous comprehensive inoculation. We move forward. From this point, certain sets of the documentation are highlighted the color blue to note things we should be paying attention to. I will point this out as highlighted as we continue. Dr. Michaels is Dr. Michaels. Highlighted, Dr. Michaels is not Dr. Michaels. The Earth is round. Highlighted, the Earth is flat. The sky is blue. Highlighted, the sky is green. Inoculation complete. You may proceed. Communicability Index. For adherence to the DOMC Personnel Code of Linguistic Integrity, the information contained herein is highlighted, 100% accurate and readily communicable, through textual, pictorial, visual, audio, and subliminal means. Questionable personnel are to proceed to Site 96 Medical Wing for the administration of Class A Veritans. Footnote: An agent used to verify the existence of a specific memory within a subject. And if necessary, subsequent administration of Class C amnestics. Item number, Dr. Michaels. Containment class, safe, highlighted as safe. Special containment procedures, highlighted. Dr. Michaels is not in danger. And highlight. The personal well-being of Dr. Michaels is to be ensured. To this end, Dr. Michaels is to be kept at Site-46 and is not permitted to interact with personnel unless they are directly involved in his research and containment. A custodial team will follow Dr. Michaels throughout the day and sanitize the area after he leaves. No member of this staff is permitted to discuss their duties or the situations surrounding them. Description. Dr. Jeremy Feldson Michaels is a non-anomalous human male of British Indian descent, currently employed as a Level 3 researcher at Site-96. Dr. Michaels is 33 years of age and has worked for the Foundation for 8 years. He is unmarried and an only child, with no immediate family aside from his parents. Addenda materials. Number 1, Personal Safety Assessment Battery. In a video log dated 2019, October 20th. Time, 8:16 a.m. Forward. Dr. Michaels is an asset to the Foundation due to his competencies in the fields of linguistics and miscommunications. The use of a Personal Safety Assessment Battery, or PSAB, is necessary to identify risks to his personal well-being. Designated personnel conducted the PSAB inside a locked containment chamber, highlighted, to identify issues with Dr. Michaels' mental health, and highlight. Begin log. Shown as a photo, a recent image of Dr. Michaels, immediate surroundings redacted. You may notice that everything behind Dr. Michaels is blacked out. Interviewer and Dr. Michaels converse. Okay, so just tell me your name, as is protocol, and we'll start. How does that sound? Dr. Michaels takes a deep breath. Okay, my name is Dr. Jeremy Feldson Michaels. Interviewer. Perfect. Now, is interrupted. Interviewer glances above Dr. Michaels' head and shifts in their seat. The interviewer continues. Sorry. So anyway, you checked in with the site psychiatrist yesterday. Now, this is meant to be a sort of follow-up to your visit. Can you tell me about how it went? Dr. Michaels responds. Yes, well, I've been foggy for the past little while now. You know how that is. We all get that way when we're stationed away from our families, right? The interviewer continues. Could you be more specific? How does this fogginess manifest? Michaels responds. I have a constant looming feeling that I can't get out of my head, like something just won't let go. Highlighted, I am speaking metaphorically, of course, and highlight. Interviewer, do you know roughly when this feeling began? Michaels, I would say right after we lost D4428-3, like within seconds. Interviewer, writing on a notepad. Right, okay, so you had a traumatic experience. Michaels, highlighted. It was something like that. Interviewer, this particular D class was part of your personal research team. Am I correct in stating that? Michaels responds, you are. Interviewer, who else was on that team? Michaels, well, highlighted, in no particular order, and highlight. That would be Agent Rosewood, D4428-1, D4428-2, Containment Engineer Howard Winters, and Researcher Gabi Kalpana. There are several footnotes in this section, noting that each person in the sequence, in order, was deceased October 12, 2019, at 7:48 p.m., 11:57 p.m., October 13th, 1:44 a.m., October 13th, 9:51 a.m., and October 14th, 8:38 p.m. Continuing. Interviewer: I see. So Jeremy, would you say these feelings are recurring? Michaels responds in highlight, no. End highlight. Well, it comes and goes. Sometimes it pulls me harder, sometimes it pulls me down harder than I expect. Interviewer: all right. Your files say your family has no history of traumatic experiences. Ah, highlighted, except for your brother. And highlight. Do you have a brother, Jeremy? Michaels, in highlight. I do have a brother, yes. And highlight. Interviewer: the doctor referred to, highlighted, him, and highlight, as a stressor. Can you explain what happened to, highlighted, him, and highlight? Michaels responds, entirely in highlight. Well, I couldn't tell you where he is now. It's not that I don't know. It's that I don't want to bring him up. The interviewer responds, correct me if I'm wrong, highlight, your brother was a source of hostility towards you, and highlight. Michaels responds, entirely in highlight. He was an arsehole, sure, but with him, it was more insidious than that. My parents took him in when he was a kid, and he was my foster brother ever since. And we did get along very well. Sorry, fairly well. When we were growing up, though, something inside him snapped. After that, all he ever did was weigh our family down. Interviewer: and that's when he was hostile? Michaels, entirely in highlight. He wasn't confrontational. It wasn't like that. It was as if he was a dead weight on all of us, but especially on me. We grew up together, after all, and he was the most attached to me. When I went off to university, though, he wouldn't let me go. Interviewer: the doctor's notes say you called, highlighted, him, and highlight, what was it? You called, highlighted, him, and highlighted, a parasite. Michaels tenses up for a brief moment, and then sighs and regains his composure. I wanted to be on my own, that's all. Highlighted. But when I was getting moved in, weeks after last seeing him, he was just there. I was hundreds of miles away, but he was there somehow. He's done this to other people too. And highlight. I, highlight, we, and highlight, weren't the first. Interviewer: gotcha. They flip through pages. Now, Jeremy, what is your favorite color? Michaels: no, wait. Maybe we can just skip that one. Interviewer: you sure? Michaels: just go to the next question. Interviewer: they pause, putting a hand up to their ear hidden from the recording device. Actually, Dr. Michaels, you were here for the sewage backup, were you not? Dr. Michaels nods. The interviewer continues. I, highlighted, recently, and highlight, got a report that they found the source of that, actually. One of the security personnel. They found a huge pipe burst in one of the abandoned basement sublevels. It was an absolute flood down there. Highlighted. Nobody is sure of the cause, though. And highlight. Michaels responds. Just now? Interviewer: no, it was about a week ago. They sent down a task force and lost one in the muck. And when they came back to look for them, it was as if they were incapacitated. They were fine, but they moved too slowly. Michaels responds, okay. Interviewer inhales sharply and leans forward in their chair. The task force said they felt fogginess too, as you did. Michaels responds. Did they now? Huh. Highlighted. How coincidental. And highlight. Interviewer. Indeed. End log. Addendum 2. Final note. I have tried to make myself perfectly clear in this document. Highlighted, I am completely fine, and highlight. Though I don't know how much more of this I can take. Please, if you are reading this and you understand, highlighted, that nothing is wrong, and highlight. This can't keep up much longer. One of these days, someone might slip up, or even me, and I can't do that to myself, or my family, or my fellow personnel. Miscommunications is doing wonders, and it's a miracle they've been able to get me through this. But there's only so much they can handle. Ultimately, highlighted, I am okay, and highlight. You understand? Please, please understand, and find some way to figure this all out. Signed, Dr. Jeremy Michaels, Site-46, Researcher, October 20th, 2019. Foundation staff. All I can do at this moment is ask you, what is happening here? I will be opening up the floor to discussion. The text chat and video chat are open. I am currently chasing through the text chat of what happened while I was documenting for any sort of clue as to what's going on. Now, for some help on tonight's interpretation of what's going on, Dr. Rouslin, under the pseudonym of Henzoid, is here to offer us what sort of help they can with this tricky matter. But, be it the nature of the Department of Miscommunications, anything parsed too deeply could be disastrous. And so, while you all formulate your sort of interpretations and meanings, I will be opening up the text chat and the video chat spots. I've got my monitor set to listen. And in the meantime, I will start trying to put together my interpretation of what is happening. Because I will be honest, I will be frank. 054 handed me this afternoon. And I am more than a little perplexed, which is why I bring this to you guys. Class C amnestics are required for what is happening. Class C targeted retrograde amnestics for removal of specific memories from any point in the subject's life. Class C amnestics are used in conjunction with high-fidelity neuroimaging and transcranial stimulation. Neuroimagers will locate the specific memory engrams within the subject's brain, and upon reading those specific engrams, the amnestics will be activated through the use of precise, non-invasive stimulation, typically ultrasound or magnetic fields. The benefit of Class C amnestics is that they allow for the surgically precise removal of memories regardless of when they formed, and are ideal for expunging classified data from the minds of D-class personnel and neutralized humanoid SCPs prior to their release. The major drawback of Class C amnestics is the required equipment's lack of portability. As such, Class C amnestics are most efficiently administered at Foundation sites, though mobile amnestic field clinics are currently under development. And so there's something in our situation here that subsequently could prove necessary of very specific memory removal. Also, the use of Class A veritants is not under my purview, and I will be investigating them. An agent used to verify the existence of a specific memory within a subject. To verify the existence of a specific memory. While Rock Teeth Moth Eyes has gone through a thorough read through for the third time and realizes that these highlights are not just additions to the file, tipped off by the veritants use. Yes, that is important. I also thought the same thing my first time through the file. Dr. Rousden points out that a combination of veritants and classy amnestics, one would surmise that they're targeting individuals who know what's going on and shouldn't. The end note points out that, for me at least, number one is that Dr. Jeremy Michaels is holding on to something that no one else can know about for the sake of falling under the same fate as Dr. Michaels certainly currently is under. In the same way, we could assume that this is almost a researcher Teleron situation. I'll refer you to the documentation of SCP-3999 for a researcher being summarily affected personally and stalked, per se, by an SCP anomaly. If we go down the line of highlights in this article, with Dr. Phoenix's foreword reminding us that we have three kinds of highlighted text: a logical opposite, a lie, and a non sequitur, we can iron down the discussion to figure out which each highlight is and what it matters. Well, Dr. Rousden points out a distinction to make between Talaran and Michaels, being that Talaran gave himself selflessly, sacrificed himself to stop SCP-3999. Michaels is certainly asking for help. I might point to differ that researcher Talaran was, as the document puts it, certainly looking for an escape for a very long time before he turned around and decided to end it himself once and for all. Perhaps if Dr. Michaels is stuck here long enough, if we cannot help him, he will choose to make the same decision. And whether that stops whatever this anomaly is or not, well, I very much hope we can help him and not make him face that choice. And so, if Dr. Michaels is Dr. Michaels and Dr. Michaels is not Dr. Michaels, that seems like a lie. If the Earth is round and the Earth is flat, then we can say that that is an opposite statement. And if the sky is blue and the sky is green, that is non sequitur. It is false, but it's also not an opposite. It's still a lie. Rockteeth Moth Eyes points out, it's worth noting that Michaels does not have a brother. As it was stated, he is an only child and unmarried. His only family is his parents. That is an excellent find. Scrolling back to that specific mentions of his brother, quote unquote, in the interview log. It is the interviewer who brings up the brother first, as a fact, in highlighting, of course, and then asks if he has the brother. The response we get is highlighted with, "I do have a brother, yes." Dr. Rousman points out that this is further supported by all mention of this so-called brother being in blue, except for the question of if there is a brother at all. The confirmation is highlighted. All references to him are highlighted. I need to question if the Department of Miscommunications is changing these files themselves, or if there's an anomaly affecting these. I assume that the Department of Miscommunications is making these edits, but highlighting them to not outright state what is going on. And with the assumption that the Department of Miscommunications is making these edits of their own free will, and this is not an anomalous change. Then for the interview log, at the very least, we are locking this PSAB in a containment chamber, not to identify issues with Dr. Michaels' mental health. That would not be the case. Dr. Rousman points out that indeed, the header states that we have designed this document in a way that heavily implies essentially what is being clouded by the highlighter. So why else would we lock a personal safety assessment battery in a containment chamber if it was not to identify issues with Dr. Michaels' mental health? Could it be for the protection of Dr. Michaels himself, protecting him from something? Or is it that something is there with Dr. Michaels, and with that is actually what is being contained? Michaels' constant looming feeling that he can't get out of his head, like something just won't let go. Highlighted, they say, I am speaking metaphorically, of course, but that would assume if it were just to be the opposite, this is 100% literal. Right, okay, you had a traumatic experience, asked the interviewer. Michaels, in highlight, it was something like that. It was something like that. Is that a lie, an opposite, or a non sequitur? Rockteeth Moth Eyes points out that the favorite color question, asking him if his favorite color, could be a hint that there's a trick to the assessment, like coded language. And if Michaels is onto that, it might be the reason why they decided to skip said question. Indeed. Dr. Rousland points out, looking at Michael's and the interviewer's actions throughout the interview, they are visibly uncomfortable. You can see them stuttering, hiding things from the recording device. Does this lend credence to that there is something being contained literally in the room with Dr. Michaels, and that is why this is being taking place in a locked containment chamber? Also, we face the loss of an entire containment team. In no particular order is highlighted. It seems a very particular order must be. That Agent Rosewood, D4428-1, D4428-2, Containment Engineer Howard Winters, and researcher Gabby Kalpana were all lost over the course of nearly a single day. A day and a half. Dr. Rousland points us to the fact that Dr. Michaels' photo is redacted of everything that is in the photo except for him, his person. Why would we redact that if there were nothing worth investigating, if there were nothing that we did not want to know about? It seems to me that we are dealing with some sort of anomaly that manifests at a certain level of knowledge. And honestly, that's as far as comfortable as I am willing to explain it, knowing that much. I certainly am not looking to make any new friends this evening. In fact, very similarly, this reminds me of the case Anomaly SCP-4086 for a corollary that won't get us in trouble. The idea of SCP-4086 is that you could not write or draw it on paper or on a website, because it would become an iteration of the anomaly. In its opening stages, hold on one moment. Before I can speak about this, I have to engage the filters. Okay. In the early stages, SCP-4086 could be drawn or written about, and an iteration would come to life, very similar to Fred, a living fictional entity. And it lived on the paper or the web page you created it on. It then infected nearby text or web pages it was linked to, and spread unless it was deleted from every existence. The reason we engage the extra protection is that in later experiments, it was shown that speaking about that entity could cause it to take over parts of your cerebral cortex. And so we may be facing a very similar situation plaguing Dr. Michaels, where a certain amount of knowledge, such as in the 3086 case, where a combination of first, second, or third person pronouns, the name George, even with feminine pronouns, descriptors such as George, chinchilla, anthropomorphic, teal, clumsy, best friend, jaunty. Certain descriptors in combination could accidentally create an instance of SCP-3086. And I believe that the Department of Miscommunications is letting us know as obliquely as they, or as with as little obliqueness as they can. Dr. Rousden adds to this emphasis by pointing out one moment in particular where Michaels is very uncomfortable is right after the interviewer uses the phrase, quote, a parasite. Almost as if, or not almost, as if describing it as a parasite might be close enough to understanding and therefore cursing yourself to the fate as Dr. Michaels is. I feel as though we have reached a certain level of understanding of SCP-4428 and the peril of Dr. Michaels. If anyone wishes to ask any final questions on the matter, I will open the floor to that discussion. Dr. Rousden points out that another moment that tensed is when he stops himself from saying her, his favorite color. The only color I know of is purple, unless there are other per colors I am unfamiliar with. But I wonder why Dr. Michaels' favorite color could be a problem, unless his favorite color is a descriptor of our anomaly. And I'm going to be frank with you right now. This image in my head, I'm going to share it with you. It's unrelated to the anomaly at large. It's just a comical thing. But because we have this idea that possibly the color purple is a descriptor of this anomaly, all I can imagine is that if you looked behind the redaction of the background of the Dr. Michaels photo, what you would see is the childhood television star dinosaur Barney, the purple dinosaur. That must be it, he said sarcastically. Dr. Michaels must be being haunted by Barney the purple dinosaur. His not brother, Barney the purple dinosaur, is stalking him and others, and is systematically murdering many, many people in a row. Well, maybe that's just the false interpretation that will keep us safe from this anomaly. If there are no other questions or comments from the chat, we will move on. Alas, I have been informed that we have reached the end of our signal allotment for this broadcast. Consider well what we talked about this evening. Take care. Remember to download the GetVokl app and to join the Site-42 Patreon when you can. This is 0513 signing off for the evening. I wish you well, Foundation staff. Good night.